Hello everyone. Myself Sasikala, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Shakti College of Arts and Science for Women. Today in this video we are going to see about translation. Translation is to render the meaning of a text into another language in the way that the author intended the text. The translation cannot simply reproduce or be the original. The first business of the translator is to translate. There is a body of knowledge about translation which, if applied to solving translation problems, can contribute to a translator's training. In a narrow sense, we can say that translation theory is concerned with the translation method appropriately used for a certain type of text. So if we take this in a wide sense, we can say that translation theory is the body of knowledge that we have about translation. So here translation is the communication of the meaning of a source language text by means of an equivalent target language text. Whereas interpreting undoubtedly in writing, translation began only after the appearance of writing literature. There exist partial translations of the Sumerian epic of Gilgamesh into Southwest Asian language of the 2nd millennium BC. So here we can say that translators always risk inappropriate spillover of source language idiom and usage into the target language translation. On the other hand, spillovers have imported useful source language loanwords that have enriched the target languages. Indeed, translators have helped substantially to shape the languages into which they have translated. So what are all the functions of translation? Translation is a means of communication. Translation is instrumental in transmitting culture. Translation is also a transmitter of the truth. Translation is a technique for learning foreign languages. So these are all the functions of translation. So the functions of translation is in means of communication, and it acts as an instrument in transmitting culture. It is also used to transmit the truth. So it is all the functions of translation. So what a translation theory does is, here we can say 4 points. So the first point is to identify and define a translation problem. And the second thing is it helps to indicate all the factors that have been taken into account in solving the problem. So the third point in translation theory is that it helps to list all the possible translation procedures. And the fourth point is that it helps to recommend the most suitable translation procedure plus the appropriate translation. So these are all the translation theories function in helping the translation in translating the text. So what are all the translation method? So the central problem of translating has always been whether to translate literally or freely. So the argument here was theoretical. Now the context has changed, but the basic problem remains. So here we can see the methods. So we can say that word for word translation is there, literal translation is there, faithful translation is there, semantic translation is there, adaptation, free translation, idiomatic translation, communicative translation. So these methods only found to be a semantic and communicative translation method. So these methods helps to fulfill the aims of translation. So here we can say that this translation method is having a two main aims of translation. One is about accuracy and the other one is about economy. So, in general, a semantic translation is written at the author's linguistic level, a communicative at the readership. So, semantic translation is used for expressive text. So, what are all the different types of translation theories? We can say that literary translation theory is there. So, here they do translate words because there is nothing else to translate. So, they'll focus on the words. Now, we can say that these type of theories help to translate the text in a format of one-to-one translation, which is common. So this literal translation is the first step in translation. We can also say that Asian translation theory is also there. So this is a separate tradition of translation in South Asia and East Asia. Western translation theory is there. This theory discusses about the translation which reach back into antiquity and show remarkable continuities. So here we can say that the ancient Greeks, they distinguished between metaphors and paraphrase. So these Western translation theory, they help to formulate the central concept of translation based on equivalence. So the greater the contact and the exchange have existed between two language or between those language helps the translator to translate the text in a proper way. So we can say that serious literature translation theory is also there. So translator can boldly transfer the image of any metaphor, whether it is known in the target language. Original metaphors have been translated accurately even if in the target language culture the image is found to be strange and the sense it conveys may only be guessed. So translation in general is considered to be a literary work, is considered to be a literary pursuit in its own rights. So this is about translation. Thank you for watching the video.